right when you're coming out of the dream, you're beginning to wake up, you're coming into, you're like, wait, was I dreaming or was that real? And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, wow, that was a dream. And wow, thank goodness I woke up from that dream because that dream was somewhat of a nightmare. The hypnosis of life, like how people are running on autopilot, they're on automatic pilot. They're not aware of that. They don't know that. They don't know that. It's some completely out of their sphere of awareness. And it's like living under a kind of spell, like waking up from a dream. We've all had that experience, waking up from a dream. But when you first wake up, it's like, wait, was that right when you're coming out of the dream? You're beginning to wake up. You're coming into, you're like, wait, was I dreaming or was that real? And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, wow, that was a dream. And wow, thank goodness I woke up from that dream because that dream was somewhat of a nightmare, or it had a dark flavor, dark color quality to it. And but that's what we're referring to here. I think a lot of people are just so depressed or frustrated, full of anxiety, fear, their anger. There's so much anger. The world is angry, but all that's hypnotic. It's like people don't know that all of that reactive life is actually unconscious. We're born into a world of language, a world of narratives, and we take on these narratives. But what I'm pointing to here is the narratives that are passed down. And then that not only from parents, but cultures, societies, and general things you do, or the taboos, the things you don't do. Now, those narratives are adopted. In a sense, there's nothing original. There's not original thoughts. Well, okay, if we're not having original thoughts and we're adopting others' thoughts, well, those thoughts are narratives. They're stories, in a sense. And those stories, I mean, become who we are. And, something I learned in working with people at my boot camps and trainings, and we would do work around stories, how people live inside their story. They're the central character of their story. Everyone else around them and in their lives are just other actors on the stage of their life, but they're the central character in the center of their story. And then, but when you really look, you start doing some looking, like, well, wait, where did these stories come from? Like, did someone tell me this story and I bought into it? And it could even be the story, like, you're no good and, you're stupid. You're not going to amount to anything. Okay, you take that, I'm not wanted. You get whatever the story, but then it has some source. It's carried forward. It's carried down a line, not only from your own family, your parents, your mother, your father, the educational system, your teachers, how to be in school and how not to be. You have to conform. You conform or you rebel is kind of what you're left with. But somewhere in there, you get lost. But I want to keep pointing to for a moment this idea of narratives that we adopt, narratives and stories we buy into, because I think the world right now, there's ideologies coming at us from many directions. You're on social media, you're on the mainstream news. There's just propaganda through advertising, whether it's big pharma or big food, or what the war machine wants you to know, what you should think. You should think, they feed you narratives. And because we've been trained at from the time we were born, like you were saying, to buy the story, adopt this, we're told what to believe. We're told what to think. We're not having original thoughts, but we take these stories and narratives on like they're our own. And that's the dangerous, right there. That's the dangerous place. But I'll say, I think that's also the point right there of hypnosis, where not only do you adopt the stories or the narratives you're given, but there's a point in there where they become your own, and you become then right and righteous about these narratives, and you believe, oh yeah, this is my original thinking, I'm thinking for myself. Through your conditioning and programming, you don't realize, no, actually, you wouldn't be saying all this, you wouldn't be thinking all this, you wouldn't be so right about all this if you were actually an original thinker.